Hi, I'm Li, and I'm going to talk about the localized development of science fiction film in China, taking The Wandering Earth as an example. And this is the content of my presentation. First, I will give an introduction to the background of science fiction film industry in China, and the brief of the film. Compare this film with other Hollywood films to see what this film have learned from them, and talk about how this film achieved Chinese style of science fiction film, and last draw a conclusion and some discussion about the drawbacks of the film. First, I will give an introduction to the film. There was hardly a good science fiction film in China in history until The Wandering Earth appeared. The attempt of this film opened a new era of science fiction film in China, with a very charming narrative style and realistic visual effects. The film produces the cruel scene of mankind's fantasy of doomsday, shows mankind's spirit of survival in a harsh natural environment. The reason for its success is that the film involves advantages in foreign science fiction films and combines with Chinese concept instead of seemingly imitating, which form the Chinese style of science fiction. In the following parts, I will explain the imitation and innovation in the film. The Wandering Earth mainly learns from American Hollywood science fiction films and disaster films from two aspects. First, the multiple narrative. Both in Interstellar and The Wandering Earth, the father was sent out to the universe on mission. In two films, they both try to save mankind from the universe, while their son or daughter on the Earth also work hard for the human survival. And the second is the visual expression of the plot. In The Wandering Earth, the aging of the sun, doomsday, and the frozen city buildings are referenced from the Hollywood films such as The Day After Tomorrow and 2012. Similar scenes can be found in the 2012. The plane was escaping from the volcanic ash, while in the Wandering Earth, the truck was also rushing out of the dust. They were both shot from an overhead perspective. So, how The Wandering Earth innovate and realize the Chinese style of science fiction? First is the concept of home. In The Wandering Earth, people did not abandon the Earth but flew with it. They treat the Earth as the spaceship pushed away from the sun. This is not only related to the agricultural culture, which contains the adherence of the home and motherland, but also closely related to the history of modern China. The Chinese notion of home emphasizes a return to a geographical homeland, regardless of what or who is left there, said Bai Guo, the director of The Wandering Earth. The second is the visual style based on Chinese aesthetics. Any kind of visual style grows in a specific cultural environment, and they have their own historical and cultural context. In the film, there are huge trucks with sharp edges and corners covered by frost, rough and powerful mechanical transmission. In addition, Chinese-style urban architecture, natural scenery, frozen Shanghai, Beijing, and other landmark buildings which are familiar to Chinese people are presented. Director Guo talked about this kind of style. Our starting point was actually based on the visual style of Soviet heavy industry, because the Chinese have a certain feeling for that, including feelings for Soviet buildings. And lastly, I will draw a conclusion. This film creates a unique Chinese style of science fiction, integrates Chinese aesthetics and native land emotion into science fiction films, which can easily resonate with Chinese audiences. The Wandering Earth establishes a new system and a new style, which pointed out the direction for the future development of Chinese science fiction films, which should be positive towards the plight of the development of science fiction films in China, strive to break the deadlock and create Chinese-style science fiction films. And I also have some discussion about this film. Although it has received a lot of praise, there are still many shortcomings to be improved. For example, the film lacks rigorous scientific logic. Additionally, the actors' lines in the film are kind of simple. The rhythm of the story is slightly chaotic, and the shaping of the characters are not well completed. And that's all for my presentation. Thank you.